Okay then, ladies and gentlemen, so I know I said in my live stream that I was going to do some capture card video guides, and I have to apologise, it has been a bit delayed due to the fact that I've had technical difficulties in the fact that basically I hadn't been able to get my voice to be heard in the background, but I've now fixed that issue. I've also noticed across the internet on a lot of the videos there's a lot of people asking how to actually sort this. So basically I'm just going to tell you guys how to solve it. If you are using the AGP Tech capture card like a lot of people are, and you're having trouble getting your voice to be heard in the background, all you need to do is simply get a recording mic off of Amazon, plug it into your mic socket, and there you go. It works beautifully. That's exactly what I'm using right now. The one I'm using only cost me 20 quid and it is working a treat. So now with that all said and done, let's get on with the guide. And the game I've chosen to start with is Final Fantasy VIII. Throughout this guide I will try to basically show you how to defeat all the different bosses, how to get certain items, and this, that and the other basically. Now, I pride myself on being a pro on this game, so let's hope I don't make myself look like an arse. So, let's get stuck into it. On to the introduction of the game. Enjoy. Okay, so that's the introduction to Final Fantasy VIII, and what a display it was. And as you can see, our main character that we'll be playing has just got his head kicked in a wee bit. So, here we go. The journey begins. Excuse me. So, as you can see, we've had our head kicked in and we've now woken up on a hospital bed with a splitting headache. And this lovely lady here is Dr. I'm never any good with these pronunciations. Kadowaki, I think it's pronounced. Oh, I'm not sure. Feel free to correct me on that one. So we're going to click on the top one. So she's giving us a bit of a rollicking for taking it too far, although to be fair it wasn't really our fault, you know. And she's now asking us to say our name. Now, you can choose to stick with the default name, or you can come up with your own name. The choice is yours. Now, being that Squirrel is my favourite character and I don't like to dishonour him, I'm going to stick with his standard Squirrel name. There is only one other character in the game that you'll actually get to rename. The rest of them, you have to stick with the names they've got, I believe. But you can rename the names of the GF, aka Guardian Forces, when you get them. Okay, so she's saying she's going to go and contact our instructor, which is Quistis. Now, Quistis is our second main character to the game. And we'll learn a bit more about her very shortly. I wonder who this is that's just decided to crop in. Well, I could tell you who she is, but then that would be spoiling it. So I'll reveal her identity as and when the time comes. So for now, I'm going to leave you guessing. I know, I'm a git for it. So, right, here's Quistis. And she is our instructor. Well, at the moment she is. Now she's giving us a bit of a rollicking as well, which is fair play. You know, I'm sure Cypher will get us equal a bollocking later, no doubt. Now, for those of you that have never played the game before, you're probably wondering who Cypher is. Cypher is the one whom Squirrel was battling against in the introduction. If you haven't already worked it out, I thought I'd just put that in there anyway. I mean, it is pretty obvious, I know this, but just for those of you that haven't quite caught on. I should also point out that I'm not trying to make anyone look like a dumbass either with that last comment. I'm just trying to be as helpful as I can. Right, so another little conversation with our instructor. She wants to know more about us. And of course Squirrel does his usual, it's none of your business. See his head's all bandaged up as well where he got gashed. So, this is Balamb Garden. This will be your main base of operations throughout the game. There will be times where you'll be quite far away from it, but later on, basically, it becomes your base. But we'll get into that later on as and when we get to it. Let's not jump the gun. So, Balamb Garden and all the other gardens are basically schools for training people in the art of being a seed, which is basically training them in the art of combat, using magic, summoning guardian forces in the case of this game. speaking of which, we do have a Guardian Force alert coming up. We'll be getting our first 2 Guardian Forces, which are Shiva and Quasgot, and I will show you how to get them in just a moment. First, we're going to have our debriefing from Quistis. He's telling us to meet at the hall at 1600 hours for an announcement of the team groups. And this is for the seed exam, which is coming up a bit later on. I'll probably cover that in the next episode though, because obviously I want to try and keep these episodes at a reasonable time limit. Of which I'd like to try and keep each video to sort of 20 to 30 minutes long, so it's not really too long. Oh, there we go. Cypher's just taken a rollicking. Do not injure your partner during training next time. Of course, he doesn't like taking the rollicking, so he's just punched his console. Well, I say punched it, it's not a tap, really. If it was a punch, it was the girliest punch ever. Okay, so before we walk off, so before you run off, access the console in front of you. To tell you the turn on button, that should be pretty damn obvious. And then the next one you want to click on is the tutorial button. So it will go through all your login data and whatnot and do its searching, and then it should bring up 2GF, aka Guardian Forces. These will be Quasgot and Shiva. These are your first 2 starting GFs, so make sure to get them. If you don't get them at this console, you can pick them up at the gate, because Quistis will automatically drag you into it, so to speak. So again, you can name them whatever you want. I'm going to stick with the standard names. So once you've done that, feel free to go through any of these other like operations and things. Card game rules, I'll get into that later on. Some of them are a little bit complicated, but I'll try to explain them as we sort of go through. We won't actually be doing the card game just yet. However, on our way out of here, we are going to be picking up our first set of cards. I'll show you where to get those as well in just a moment. So when you're done faffing around here and you've read what you want to read, or if you don't want to read, just simply quit back out of it. It's not really that big of an issue. So simply just click on done, which is pretty obvious, and move on. I must apologise for any background noise. I am trying to get comfy here and shuffling around a bit. I do apologise. So, before we leave, we must talk to Quistis one more time, and she's asking us whether or not we have been to Fire Cabin. Now, this is a standard thing that we have to do before we can go to the seed exam. So, she's asking us to give her an excuse now as to why we haven't been. Well, I think getting our asses knocked out by Cypher is excuse enough, don't you think? So, so she's saying that she's going to go with us to the fire cabin and she's going to wait for us at the front gate. So that will be our next destination point after we've just cleared up a few little details. Now you can talk to these 3 if you want, you won't get much out of it. So we're just going to leave them as they are. I know the one on the end gets a bit jealous because you're going to be alone with Quistis. And he doesn't like it. Now what's this? I'm late. Oh, hello. So, this is our 3rd main character that we're now being introduced to for the first time, although we don't actually get to use her until later. And her name is Selfie. She's quite a energetic and lively girl, very friendly, and as you can see, she's late to registration. She's missed it, in fact. Not to worry though, Selfie, it's not the end of the world. We've all missed registration at one point or another. I'm sure of it. So she says she's just transferred here, and she's asking us if we can give her a quick tour of the garden. Now, you can either click don't have the time, which makes you look like a complete grumpy arse, and then she won't take kindly to that. So I'd recommend clicking on the sure button and giving her the tour. It'd be a lot easier, trust me. Unless of course you feel like being stingy, of course. Either way is good. Now, let's backtrack a second to something I said earlier. I mentioned the card game and the fact that we'd be getting our first set of cards. These are our basically standard starting deck. So you want to come to this guy here and he will give you them. Now, he is actually a member of the CC group, but you won't be able to challenge him until later, and at the moment he basically turns around and says that he doesn't play cards, which is actually a rotten lie. CC group is basically a card club of elite card players. In order to unlock this, you must you must win 20 games either in Balamb Garden or in Balamb Town, and I'll be showing you Balamb Town later on. Basically, once you have done that, there will be a guy somewhere down in the lobby. You speak to him. First time round he'll say it's almost time. Speak to him again and he says, alright, I challenge you, and that's when you'll then take them on. And you'll have to take them on in a specific order. But we'll get to that later on, and when we do I'll show you what the order is and where they can be found. And hopefully the card rules won't be too horrific when we get to that point. I do have a habit of messing that up. For the sheer fact of if you go to the wrong area to get the wrong cards in the wrong order, you unlock certain rules that really do screw you over. So it's best to do it in a certain order, and I'll try to show you as best I can what the correct order is and how to work the rules. Okay, so moving on to the tour. So this is the control panel that's in the middle of the lobby. You can use this to teleport to any of the areas at this point in the game. Later on though, you will not be able to use it anymore. I don't know why this is. I have never been able to work it out. Basically, it gives you a rough diagram of where everything is. So as you can see, dormitory is up the far end. Then on the left flank, you've got the cafeteria, quad and infirmary. The right flank is the parking lot, the training centre and the library. Now the training centre is a good place for training, and we'll probably be using that at some point or another, for the sheer fact of in there are T-Rexors, but I don't recommend taking them on straight away. I recommend beefing up your Shiva GF first at the very least, and I'll show you how you can do that in a minute when we get outside of the garden. So we'll have to get outside to go across the fire cavern. I will get my words out. Yeah, let's hope we don't end up in the infirmary, eh? I still can't pronounce her name. I'm sure it's pronounced Kadowaki. Really weird name, I've got to admit. Weirdest one I've ever come across. I'm starting to wonder if maybe it's some sort of Japanese name, perhaps. So Squirrel's now mentioning the headmaster, which is Sid. You'll get introduced to him a little bit later on. And you will have access to his office later on as well. I should just like point that out as well. So, with that done, we're just going to quickly nip to the save point. And we're going to save again. Save over that old one. See, that was an old guide that I tried to do, but unfortunately I say I messed it up. That was the one where I couldn't get my voice audio to work, so I had to start this again, but hey ho, it's all fun and games. So, from there, you want to be coming out of here. I could have used the teleport on the gate, but I decided that it might be more entertaining to show you all the long way, so at least you know where you're going for future reference. So basically, it's pretty simple. Just going in a straight line. Easily enough done. So we've got a couple of slight tutorials coming up, but I can show you how to skip those. So first of all, she's saying about the GF. Now, if you don't want to go through these tutorials, simply press, well, in my case, because I'm on the PlayStation 3, I press the triangle button. So whatever your equivalent button is of that triangle button, simply press that, and it should bring you out the tutorial. If you want to brush up on everything, by all means, watch the tutorial. I'm not going to bother because I already know what I'm doing, but that's the way to do it. So she's now going on about the fire cavern, and so we're on our way. Now, we're going to bring this video to an end. I should imagine that we're probably headed towards the 20 to 25 minute mark by now. So, I will see you in the next episode. I have been your host, Yoda123. Thanks so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. I know I'm not very good at all this just yet, but I am working on it. Or just simply hit the like button. Just, anything really to know that people are watching. If you want to leave a comment again, feel free. Alright, till next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.